Imagine this. A man once hailed as a symbol of justice, a top-tier lawyer, someone expected to bring about positive change, now facing calls for his resignation from his own colleagues. Yes, Keir Starmer, the leader of the Labour Party, is facing an unprecedented rebellion from the very legal profession he once belonged to. This isn't just another political scandal, it's a deep crisis of trust. When the very people who understand law best turn their backs on him, is this a sign of an impending collapse? But first, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and join our rapidly expanding community. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Keir Starmer's policies have ignited outrage across multiple sectors, exposing a leader who appears more concerned with ideological conformity than the well-being of British families. His new tax plan ruthlessly targets parents who send their children to private schools, including those with special educational needs, who often have no viable alternative in the overstretched and underfunded state system. While he preaches about fairness, his policies are stripping vulnerable children of their right to a suitable education, forcing thousands into a failing bureaucracy that cannot meet their needs. The hypocrisy doesn't stop there. Starmer's government has been riddled with controversy, from questionable appointments riddled with conflicts of interest to growing concerns over his entanglements with foreign powers. His murky ties to the European Union and China have sparked fears that he prioritizes external influences over British sovereignty, raising serious doubts about whether he truly represents the interests of the British people or simply those of the global elite. Meanwhile, ordinary Britons are struggling to make ends meet, yet Starmer's government is pouring an eye-watering £5.4 billion per year into housing and supporting illegal immigrants, many of whom arrive under dubious circumstances, while pensioners who have worked hard their entire lives are left with mere scraps. The numbers paint a damning picture. Labour's aggressive business tax plan could put 100,000 jobs on the chopping block, stifling growth and investment just as the country needs economic recovery. Over 111,000 children with special needs, currently supported by private education, face uncertainty as the state system lacks the resources to accommodate them. And let's not forget the £30,000 donation from an EU-affiliated organisation to a Labour-linked entity, post-Brexit political interference that should concern every Briton who values national independence. This isn't leadership. This is a slow-motion betrayal of the very people Starmer claims to represent. His empty rhetoric about progress masks an agenda that is eroding the foundations of Britain's economy, social fabric, and democratic integrity. With every misguided policy, every wasteful expenditure, and every ethical lapse, one must ask, is Keir Starmer actually leading this country, or is he simply accelerating its decline? Let's break it down and understand why a political storm is brewing and why Keir Starmer's future is teetering on the edge of collapse. For a man who once positioned himself as a principled leader, his fall from grace has been nothing short of spectacular. Social media is ablaze with scathing critiques, reflecting public frustration in real time. Starmer has abandoned his original principles. Why should we pay for his reckless decisions? And this isn't leadership, it's betrayal. The sheer volume of outrage isn't just an online trend. It's a reflection of deepening disillusionment among the very people Starmer was supposed to champion. And honestly, I can't disagree. Starmer's problems aren't just coming from frustrated voters. His own party is beginning to crack under the weight of his missteps. Labour MPs, once steadfast in their support, are now privately grumbling about his authoritarian grip over party decisions. He has sidelined traditional Labour voices, alienated unions, and silenced dissent within his ranks. The backlash from the legal profession, where he was once hailed as a trailblazer, is especially damning. When top legal experts, those who understand the nuances of British law, are openly opposing him, it raises the question, what has he done so catastrophically wrong? His education policy is a prime example of his reckless governance. Imposing VAT on private school fees without considering the real-world impact is not just an attack on the wealthy. It's a devastating blow to thousands of middle-class families who sacrifice to give their children a better education. Most egregiously, it's a direct threat to the 111,000 special needs children in private institutions who rely on specialized support unavailable in state schools. The backlash has been fierce. One highly liked comment I came across summed it up perfectly. Labour used to stand for the working class. Now they are making the most vulnerable suffer the worst consequences. That couldn't be more accurate. And while Starmer pretends this is about fair taxation, his hypocrisy is glaring. After all, he himself was educated in a selective school, yet he now wants to deny others that choice. But his blunders don't end there. The legal crisis he has manufactured by appointing Lord Herman as Attorney General has sent shockwaves through the political and military establishment. Here, we have a man who has actively sued the British Army, now being put in charge of advising on legal matters involving the military. The conflict of interest isn't just obvious, it's outrageous. Military veterans, defence experts, and even Labour's own defence spokespeople are questioning how Starmer could make such an indefensible appointment. One blunt but painfully truthful comment said it best. It's like putting a fox in charge of the henhouse. Who could possibly argue with that? Then there's the growing China controversy, which has the potential to be one of the biggest scandals of his tenure. While other Western nations are moving to curb Beijing's influence, Starmer is rolling out the red carpet. He has openly supported the construction of the largest Chinese embassy in the UK, right in the heart of London, despite mounting security concerns. His willingness to cozy up to China while simultaneously claiming to stand for British national interests is raising eyebrows across the political spectrum. Critics are pointing to China's increasingly aggressive stance on global affairs and asking why, at a time when national security should be paramount, Starmer is bending over backwards for a foreign power. One standout comment called it exactly what it is. This isn't diplomacy, this is selling out national security. And when a politician is suspected of prioritizing foreign interests over those of his own people, that's a clear sign he is unfit to lead. The writing is on the wall. Starmer's leadership is being chipped away, not just by political opponents, but by his own failures. His policies are harming the most vulnerable, his appointments are riddled with conflicts of interest, and his foreign dealings raise serious questions about his loyalty to Britain. Labour voters, legal experts, military personnel, and everyday Britons are waking up to the fact that this is not a man fit to lead. The question is no longer whether his credibility will crumble. It's when. And then there's immigration. I simply cannot understand how Starmer justifies spending £5.4 billion a year while millions of hard-working Britons are struggling with living costs. One frustrated comment I read hit the nail on the head. I've worked and paid taxes my entire life, yet illegal immigrants get free hotels. How is this fair? I know many of you are probably asking the same question. So what happens next? I'm not a fortune teller, but with mistake after mistake piling up, there's no way Starmer can maintain his position for much longer. An internal coup within Labour may already be in motion, and if it happens, it will be the clearest proof that even his own party has lost faith in his leadership. When a leader loses the trust of their own profession, weakens the economy, creates severe conflicts of interest, and makes decisions that negatively impact the most vulnerable in society, it's time to ask the question, is he truly fit to lead this country? We don't need a leader who just talks the talk. We need someone with vision, responsibility, and most importantly, someone who puts the interests of the British people first. What are your thoughts on Starmer's policies? Do you believe he can continue leading the Labour Party and even the country? Or is it time for a change? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video insightful, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more sharp, no-nonsense analysis of the issues shaping Britain today. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.